So before we get started today, go ahead and click that subscribe button down below. And if you want to get notifications when I post new videos, click that little bell button as well. Cinnamon came to play. Today, we went down to it's Big D Ranch. They're out in the Kuna Meridian area. I think more Meridian than Kuna. And we picked up a whole bunch of grains. This is the stuff that I mix my chicken feed and make my chicken feed out of. So I have a bunch of different grains that I use to make my chicken feed because I don't use soy or corn in any of my products. I also picked up some barley for the milk cow, so she'll get soaked barley. It gets soaked overnight and then I feed it to her in the morning along with some alfalfa pellets. So the alfalfa pellets are for the cow. And specifically just the milk cow. The other grains that I use, some of them come from Big D Ranch and then others come from the local grocery store. So they are human grade foods. Many of them are. So many of the grains that I use are not animal grade, they're human grade. It's just that they provide the nutrients and the protein necessary for the animals. So I selected them specifically for this tailored food so that I get meat growth and egg production. But by mixing my own grains, it ends up being more work. It does cost less, a whole lot less. So right now, a bag of chicken feed that has, I believe it's 16% protein, comes in around about $19, $20, and that's for the cheap variety. And my grains, I have to buy about 1,000 pounds worth of grains and seeds that I want for my chickens, which comes to 18% protein, and it has 9 different grains and seeds. So I mix them myself. That just means more work. More work, but less for cost. So I can feed them quite a bit more than I could if I were to just go to the store. I could have more chickens versus less chickens. Either way, it's a good almost 18% protein, which is more than the store-bought stuff. And the store-bought stuff is basically maintained at the very bare minimum. What I'm wanting to do is give them just a little bit extra of everything so that they're not maintaining, but progressing forward and doing better. So that's the reason I do it. The grains that I use, let's look. So I use these trash cans to keep my grains in. They are 55-gallon garbage cans, basically. And I have my cracked peas over here, my DNS over there, my soft white wheat in there. And then in this one, I have some lentils. This bag is almost empty, so I brought a new bag out. And this is, looks like cracked barley. But I also have a mess. I have oats over here. If you've been watching grain prices, you'll know that a lot of the grain prices have skyrocketed. They've gone up substantially in the last couple of years. Oats is one of those. Only just a couple weeks ago, a 50-pound bag was $20. Today I was able to pick it up for $14, so that's a significant improvement on that. Peas, on the other hand, Idaho had quite the drought this year. So the peas in this container here are still $17 for a 50-pound bag. So I have to buy 3 of those bags, 3 DNS, 3 soft white, 2 cracked barley, 1 Milo or sorghum. You can kind of interchange those two. The nutrient level and the protein level are pretty much the same on those 2 types of seeds. So that's not a problem. So in the grocery store, in the bulk section, I will buy the lentils and the flaxseed. Now you don't want to use too much flaxseed because that does change the flavor of the eggs. So too much of that and it's definitely gonna change the flavor of it, and I don't want to do that. I don't feed strictly these greens. What I do is I free range my birds, and this is more of a supplement to make sure that they are maintaining good levels, keeping their body weight on, and being able to eat in the times that there is no food for them to forage, like right now. There's pretty much nothing growing in the pastures. In the garden, I'm able to throw them some stuff, so they're still getting garden scraps and food scraps from the kitchen. But in order for them to keep their weight on, keep surviving and being healthy, I do have to supplement their feeds with grains. In the event that these grains are no longer available, I'm kind of screwed. I am working with some homesteaders in the local area to learn a little bit more about what I can do in order to feed the chickens without the greens if a time comes when I'm not able to get the greens. So definitely want to prepare for that, but right now I have 1,000 pounds of grains, so I think I'm pretty good for now. But I need to get them mixed. So let's start mixing. So my picky chickens don't like whole lentils. Yes, I know. They won't eat them. They just leave them in the bowl, and the whole lentils just kind of sit there. I have been fermenting their feed, so I'll soak it overnight. Sorry, I'm watching Maggie because she's out in the garden. So I like to keep an eye on the kids because they tend to get themselves into trouble, especially when they're over by the potato beds where they dig into the potato bed. The lentils, I have attached to this little TV table a grain grinder. So this is an old-fashioned grain grinder. And let me show you how it works, for those of you who don't already know. So this grain grinder stays out here in the barn. It's not used for human food, so it does get a bit dirty, but I don't mind so much. So the food product goes in here, the grain or the seed, and then I turn the handle here, and it activates this grinding wheel here. As the seed is pushed through this portion right here into the grinder, it grinds down the seed and it spits out here. I wish it only spit out here, but it spits out everywhere. So I have cut a couple bowls, and one bowl sits over the top of it to stop it from spitting out everywhere, and then a bowl underneath to catch it so that I can then mix it in with the rest of the grain. In order to get all of the lentils broken down into smaller particles that the chickens will then eat, I do not make this into a powder. I just break it up enough that they're smaller and the chickens will eat it. As a whole lentil, they won't, but as a broken lentil, they will. Picky chickens. So with the lentils broken up, with all the products in one location, I mix specific to the recipe that I have created based on the nutrient level and the protein level of each of the grains. Now, I did that during my undergrad degree in biology, and I have an Excel sheet that already formulates everything for me, so all I have to do is change the amount, and it changes all of the nutrient quantities based on the amount set for how much I'm putting into the mix. So I've got it standardized pretty much for the egg layers, and I have it standardized for the meat chickens. That one is for the Cornish cross or for the Red Rangers. Those are the two that I was raising a while back that I was feeding specifically for. So those are the ones that I wanted to formulate their feed for. So I have those formulas already in place, ready to go. And then all I have to do is follow it. 1 part this, 1 part that, 2 parts this, 2 parts that, kind of thing. And then when I go to change the type of bird that I'm feeding, I can then just recalculate in this Excel sheet and it's done. So don't really have to do any more math on that. Math is not the fun subject for me. So biology, yes. Math, no. So I'm going to get started on mixing the feed because I have a whole lot to go. 1,000 pounds of feed that needs to be mixed today so that I can start basically being prepared for the winter. In addition to that, I have feed for the milk cow, the barley, and the alfalfa pellets. So those are going to go in 2 different trash cans. I don't really have to mix those. I just have to have them stored out here and put away. So that's what I'll be doing with those. And let's get started. All right, well, I ran out of Boss. For those of you who don't know, it's black oil sunflower seeds. It's one of the ingredients of this meal for the chickens. So without it, I can't do any more mixing. So I'm pretty much done. I did get 2 full garbage cans mixed and then 1 half. So that was it. I was hoping to get all of it done, everything complete. I do still have several bags out in the truck that I need to bring in. But what I'm probably going to do is just put them individually in the garbage cans for storage until I get back to the store when I can get some more Boss. Once I get more Boss, then I'll start mixing again. In the meantime, I guess I'm going to clean up, put everything away, and figure out what else I'm going to do. Oh, on another note, the NRCS, yeah, there's a lot of dust in here. The USDA, with the NRCS program, the guy that handles my paperwork just gave me a call. And this year, there's no cap. Last year, there was a cap. They were able to grant only a certain amount of funds for a high tunnel. This year there is no cap, which means that we can go bigger, either wider, longer, or whatever. But the program, the manager for my application gave me a call and let me know that there is no cap this year. So that is a positive, which means that the new tunnel coming in for next year, the grant program for that, I can do a larger tunnel. So I may end up going wider. The one that we have here is 16 feet wide. I know of another company that does it 24 feet wide, and then of course the lengths are different, and you can pick any length that you want. The Farmer's Friend high tunnel, which I have right now, goes 14 feet or 16 feet, and either 50 feet or 100 feet long. So with no cap, I may be able to find another company that I can get another high tunnel from that has different measurements depending on what we need. I do like the Farmer's Friend. It's a high quality tunnel. We've had 60 and 70 mile an hour winds out here and no problem whatsoever. This thing is secure. It is amazing. It stands up to that significantly. Hold on, Maggie. So I may or may not go with a different company. It just all depends. I definitely would like to do the Gothic style because it does give a higher peak in the center in order to grow the tomatoes taller. Since I stake my tomatoes, we can go straight down the center and trellis the tomatoes up to a higher peak. And that would definitely be beneficial for growing tomatoes specifically. So we may end up just going with the Farmer's Friend, but doing the Gothic style instead of the dome style. And we'll see. We'll let you know as we come closer. We'll let you know as we get closer to that timeline and let you know how it goes. So this will be our second tunnel. And that is, of course, the max for the USDA's NRCS High Tunnel Initiative program. Yes, I know that's a lot, but we'll keep you updated, keep you informed on how we're doing with that. So we will see you again next time. Bye.